pay 152 instead of 147, is that correct? Is it based on an acreage or something, or?
It's just, when you have farm animals, you're required to have a backflow preventer and that requires. Maintenance and inspections.
We're all required to have backfill.
Yeah.
There's something special when you hook it up to your barn, that it's like
Yeah.
another, I wanna say it's
It's-
another one on top of it.
It's extra usage.
Okay, so that's why there's two residential rates.
But-
And commercial rates, does Hillsborough have a commercial rate and Alma have a commercial rate?
No, they're just. Charge different units for different commercial build types.
In Hillsborough, what we decided years ago, everything is up based on units, right?
Yes,
Per rate, so the new business or the water, the laundromat, they pay X amount of rates compared to one residential. So it could be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times.
okay,
That's how it's done. And every business is looked at individually and they're charged according to what council decides when they take on.
so every individual makes a different deal with council.
Basically,
No, well,
Yeah.
it's not,
Yes.
I mean,
Yes, it does.
that one was a special instance, but if you look at Alma's water bylaw. It'll state, like, if you have a hotel, for every 3 units in your hotel, you pay 1 unit. So example, if you have. A restaurant with so many seating, you pay 2 units, and once you add more seating, it's another unit, so different examples like that are. How they use their unit system.
I only have one more comment, and I am Joanne Butland, and I live in Riverside, Albert. And I understand that things are going up, but I did the math. And in 2024, our water rate was $114. It went up 28% for 2025, and it's going up another 27% for 2026. So that's a 55% increase in 2 years. That's a lot for seniors to absorb. Just want to make that point. So if there's, I mean, if you're budgeting down the road, do we think it's gonna stay there for a number of years, or are we gonna see another 28% increase next year?
I can't guarantee that it won't come again, but we have to find another water source. As we all know, this summer was. I said a lot of prayers about whether our reservoir was gonna hold. Somehow it did. I don't know if my prayers helped, but we got through it and we have to do some work. And
So that's part of the increase is budgeted for extra work.
some of that will have to go to exploration and work on the reservoirs and our ponds up there and try and find another source of water.
Part of our income, I feel, is the wages, to be totally transparent.
Yeah.
We pay water operators, and we have water operator in charge, and we have 2 water operators that are employees of Fundy Albert, that they don't have the education or the level to operate on their own yet. So once they get their operator level, their level 2, that should come down a little bit. But our wages for our water operators is hard on the 3 utility funds. That's one of our biggest expense in the utilities is wages for
operators.
For administration, which I understand it's all part of the cost of doing business of operating your water and sewer, but it does come with a huge expense. And that's for all 3 villages. And I think they presented the cost, we're splitting them equally between Alma, Hillsborough, and Riverside, Albert. It's not based on users. And we came to somewhat of a consensus, Alma could have a big issue next year, maybe not Riverside, but then hopefully in the end, it all works out that way. It all works out equal in the end, because it definitely has a higher cost probably to Riverside, Albert, and Alma than it does to Hillsborough, because they have the most users. But in the end, it all works out.
if I could add to that, Counselor, the province has changed the mandates for level 2 water operators. It's not as easy to get them. It's years now to get your level 2. You have to have so many hours, so many this, so many that. And it has put a tremendous strain on the people that have it now. And they are more popular than they have ever been. So to hire a level 2, good luck.
They're like unicorns.
You basically have to raise them in-house, train them and get them.
Treat them real good and keep them.
and hopefully signs a piece of paper to keep them for a while.
As the alternative is $25,000 a year, if we ever get into or a month, if we ever get into a pickle that we couldn't find one, you'd have to go to a contract like Neola or something like that. And they're incredibly expensive, so it's, and you know, they are paid within the range that they should be paid, and actually a little bit lower than a lot of
But
other
they,
communities.
but that's not the full coverage if you went to Viola,
Yeah,
because of all the repairs, and everything else on top of that.
that's right.
It's huge money to
It's,
choose.
And we're trading in pubs now.
Correct.
That's
Oh, yeah.
The other thing to keep in mind as well, sorry to cut you off,
I've got more, don't worry.
I know. I figured what I was gonna say now. The other thing to keep in mind is I totally lost my thought there when I took it to laughing.
It'll come back.
Yeah, it will. Go ahead.
So there's a lot of numbers tonight and I've jotted down. So the wastewater disposal has doubled. The expense for wastewater disposal has doubled. Is that they're charging us more or we got?
For our systems that have aerators. There's a lot of repairs that we've had to budget contingent for. They have a lot of moving pieces. And Riverside, Albert, it's just a natural lagoon. So it's more, we're cleaning up vegetation here. But in Alma, in Hillsborough, they're getting in and about and they're cleaning and checking aerators, and sometimes there's line repairs that happen. You can't plan blowers that blow through the air through the aerators. There's a lot of more maintenance for them and a lot more upgrades.
More, you're projecting more next year than you are planning to do this year.
Well, there's repairs that are needed and we're pushing them off in some ways, and then the other, we're just adding extra contingency because it just keeps on happening, so we're trying to make sure that we're prepared for what can happen.
So, and the revenues, the revenues were kind of staying pretty much the same. But how does that allow us to grow? Like if we're planning to have more growth in our communities, in all of our communities, how come we're not projecting increased revenue from water sales and?
This year, when doing budget, so our surplus from the second previous year becomes revenue for us. And we had more than anticipated, so we were able to maintain rates by using that surplus. So we're still increasing our expenses, but because of the surplus, we're able to maintain a better rate.
So. I guess in saying that, you're saying it would be much worse than what it is now? So, does
We
that
didn't have
answer
our
your
surplus.
question about what happens next year?
It'll be another 28%
Yeah.
increase.
Water's expensive.
Yeah.
So in 2026, you will get to use the surplus from 2024.
Correct.
So it has to sit for a whole year before it's actually declared a surplus.
2
Yes.
years. 2 years.
2 years, yeah.
So it'll be 2023 surplus that we get to use.
We're using this year.
And because we don't have the 23 audit completed. Or maybe I missed it, but if we have completed, we're projecting for 2026 based on, I mean, it's already gone to the accountants and auditors, so you have a number. So we're projecting 186,000.
That's correct. So that is based on. So we are working with E6, I'm sure you're familiar with Kathy. So we've gone through and with their assistance, we've created. Essentially financial statements, they're just not audited. So we've taken those surplus numbers from those financial statements and we're using them in.
So in-house, you're taking that in-house numbers.
Well, it's kind of in-house because they're the ones that are verifying my work. So it's been verified by someone else, but they're just, and then it's going to, so it's essentially it's being looked at once before it even hits our auditor.
A couple other things. I noticed your grants, you're projecting to be down. And at a previous meeting, we talked about the need to have. There's lots more money out there. We just needed to have somebody out there writing for grants. And I don't know if that's maybe one of the reasons the museum wants to go on their own, because those grants are available to. There's less grants available to village than there is that, but
For the Steve's house, when we remove us from the picture, they actually have more
More,
accessibility to grants than they are when they're connected to the village.
But is the village not, there's, I would think village would be available for other than seed and. Canada.
Well, we do in-kind things with them, you know, mow their lawn, things like that.
No, I.
No, like I mean, like the village itself, we,
Us, the village go out and look for grants.
we only,
We try to,
Yeah.
we're a small team and it's, filling up grants all day. It's pretty difficult to do, so it's, we try to do as much as we can and look for as much as we can.
Are you referring to the expense line for grants? That was 25,000 that went down to 17? I think, or is that the,
No, it was the revenue line for grants.
revenue for grants.
oh,
It's like Canada. so.
Yeah,
It was, how you get money for.
those ones are the ones we've used, I've used revenue numbers of based on what we've kind of received for the last 3 years. Most other grants we receive, we only make note of them as the year goes when we receive them. So we don't typically budget for them because we don't know they're coming.
But you guys are not actively applying for grants or.
Well, I'm filling out 3 grants right now as we speak.
Okay, so where,
But it takes time and, you know, it's,
And we also have to have our portions of, like, we can get grants up to 80%, but we also have to try to find that 20% at the same time, so we have to find ones that are, work within our budget, our amount of monies, and that work for what we're working towards.
The regional collaboration was a decrease, which, I think from several meetings the community has had in Fundy Albert, there's a lot more opportunity to collaborate with a lot of organizations that all have the same, whether, for example, being the rec council, all 3 communities want to do something for youth, and the rec council committee or whatever was created. So and maybe numbers were going fast and explanations, and I was right trying to read. But it was a decrease, and the explanation line, and maybe you can find it, but it was on regional collaboration was going to decrease.
So-
they set the price.
Yeah, that's the service commission, so,
So it's not,
no, the service commission, I went to their budget presentation, I believe. So some of the programs that they put on, they actually get grants, so when they get grants, they lower their charges to us. So part of regional collaborative services, sure both you and Joanne are very good, Mark. Landry? No, it's Mark.
Leger.
This year, that worked on the Trans-Canada Trail project, so that's part of what that, expense entails, so when he gets a big grant to do parts of those trails or parts and things in the community, they offset what they need from us.
I'll leave it at that. I like this layout, and it's my negligence to not get in, because I know to get these numbers, you've all had several meetings and lots of discussions and all of that to come up with this. So, is that on somewhere where we could have
It's on our website.
It's on their website.
Yeah.
I'll do it, and then I'll send emails to them.
Send away, we're there to answer your questions.
The young lady that's very patient.
I'm Robin Stewart. I have a few questions about almost everything that was talked about today. So be ready. You don't want to meetings. So just in regards to the idea that, the budget was broken down like this, Kathy, it only just got put up if it did. So, because I have a printout from the other day that did not have this breakdown, so I do appreciate the breakdown. However, it's a little late because I couldn't have it to look it over, and then I'm trying to write down numbers as fast as I possibly can while you're reading through them. And I didn't bring my glasses, so I can't see whatever the heck's going on. So though I appreciate the changes that were made, earlier would have been so much easier. So I do have some more suggestions for how the budget could answer some of our questions without you guys having to explain it every single time that you go to a meeting. So just for example, like if there's increases over a certain amount, like sometimes you're jumping $100,000. Perhaps like in our statistics, if it increases by a certain percentage, you would then give us a description on why. Why is it increasing? I work in finance, and anytime I have a difference or an overage, I have to explain why. Break down as many areas as possible. For example, wages. What's paid by the municipal, what's paid by the province? It would be lovely to know who's being paid, because I see a lot of salary dollar lines, but I don't know who's paying them. Are we paying everybody? Does the province give you guys any kind of money? Do you absorb the entire salary? That's stuff I don't know.
Yep.
Projects. I would love to know where your projects are benefiting, who, what area is it going to be? Like Heather had mentioned, knowing what's a shared service and what's not. We wanna know, if we're spending this much money on something, where is it gonna be? Because it's not listed in the budget. We just know this much money is gonna get spent. But I don't know where. I don't know where it's going. I don't know who it's gonna affect, who it's gonna benefit. And that would be a significant, piece of information to know. Something that's already come up, who sets the amounts? If you're gonna have a total, can you manipulate it, or is it already set in stone and there's nothing you can do about it? That would be ideal to know. So if we say, why are we paying $1 million to the RCMP? Because they asked for it and that's what we have to pay. So that also makes a big difference. The NB Power, they're continuously increasing their rates. We know that. There's commercial rates, there's residential rates. It'd be great if even you said, please refer to this website for more information. So that way we know it's not your fault that prices are increasing. NB, for example, NB Power is always increasing their rates. You guys are just adapting your budget to it. What fiscal year are you guys? Are you a calendar year? Are
Mhm.
you?
Our calendar.
So your calendar, so these aren't your actuals at all, because you're a calendar year, so these are very much the budget. Okay. When you had mentioned that you were trying to get an extension on the budget till the end of the month, did you get it? In one of the meetings, it was asked that you had to have this done by the mid-month. Did you
Yes.
get the end of the month extension?
Yes, I have an extension.
Excellent, because I'd like to see the report when it's all done. I have one question.
It'll be posted by law.
So it's due at the end of the month. That's not budget related, but I guess I'll just jump right over. I did like the idea that Heather mentioned, the actuals to date would be great. I don't wanna do math. I don't wanna do that. In the shared service.
Yeah,
that I
they're
mentioned.
in our committee of the whole report.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're in our committee of the whole reports, that we put out each month, so, if you wanna like, look at the agenda, all that information's in there already.
what's it, sorry?
Yeah, like for our committee meetings, committee of the
Yeah.
whole meetings, all that information's in there. You could actually look at it on a monthly basis, I think.
But I don't believe it's by line item though. I think that's where we got in, it is by.
Yeah. And when I do, we do like for my committee of the whole report. For each of our 4 operating companies, there is what our budget is and what's been spent to date.
Okay, and that is in the meeting minutes?
Yes. Or in the
Not in the-
agenda.
Not minutes.
It'd be in the agenda,
So the
The
agenda.
agenda.
in the
okay.
agenda. Sorry, Robin, in
No,
the agenda.
no.
Yeah, no, and, we're we're a little bit running behind with projections, so I'm just getting them out for this committee of a whole, which I believe Kim has uploaded already.
That's awesome.
So-
Up to date would be, and a lot of work, don't get me wrong. I did send an email where I mentioned that, sometimes your videos are very hard to hear. I'm hoping they are today as well. So
I
if you
did
don't
share,
hear me,
I shared your email with council today.
Yes. And I will say, your meetings, whoever does up your meetings, there are minutes are beautiful. It tells you everything you need to know. You know that online, there's a lot of,
I'll hold you down.
yeah. There's a lot of, questionable, like rumors and things that go around. Sharing the video is hard. No offense, they're long. I don't wanna spend a lot of time watching them, because they're hard to hear, they're hard to watch. The minutes, when I started reading through those were great. I would maybe even recommend advertising your minutes, on your, not just saying, go to our website, but actually sharing your minutes and sending them out. And if you could maybe even summarize the topics. Within these minutes, you'll see a topic, this, and this, so that if I'm looking for something specific, I can just find it quickly in your minutes, not having to watch hours of video and hope that I find the right one.
Yep.
Just again, as an example.
I think Riverview just started doing that. I seen highlights from their council
Yeah, but-
meetings posted on their Facebook page. Yeah.
That would be nice.
through sections, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that would be a
Challenge.
dream.
I think they have
That would be a
program for that.
dream program. I don't think we can afford.
Just jump right to it.
That would mean more staff.
And budget.
Or
budget.
expenses
And
out of the
budget.
way, yeah.
Just more money for software.
Just a little some more grants.
Well, we're looking for a volunteer.
I'm gonna jump over to the utility rates. Again, I'm in LSD, I know, I'm in Hopewell Cape, however, this, I have so many questions on, you say you're doing a water, new agreement on that?
We're rewriting a water bylaw.
Bylaw. What's your goal? Are you gonna be doing the Alma Hillsborough rates? Are you gonna be going more toward Riverside Albert? What's the,
I have no idea.
okay,
We're not at that stage yet.
okay, are you doing commercial rates? Or anything like that? Cause I see you mentioned commercial in Riverside Albert. I'm not sure how much the idea that each business gets to choose or negotiate with you what unit they cover or how many units they're charged seems strange. Do you do any kind of like meter flow? Like, do you go based on meter flow?
I'd like to jump in.
Yeah,
My opinion, I would love to put meters on these businesses.
Yeah.
All,
no.
that, so we know how much.
Because right now, you're just basically going based on what they tell you. They're not gonna tell you if they have additional tables. You have a,
But then you have the cost of putting the meters on, so you know exactly how it works.
yes.
So who pays for the meter?
Putting
So who
meters on.
pays for the meters?
Well, I think it's something that the council should address, discuss and look at, because maybe start with the bigger ones. For example, you have a laundromat in the middle of Hillsborough now. How much money are they paying? Or come up with a generic, commercial rate instead of just saying, I think you're this many units. You're like, you have the opportunity right now. You're creating a whole new bylaw. This is your opportunity to, one, make everybody the same, because the idea of having Riverside Albert with that many lines, well, Alma and Hillsborough has two, is just weird. Understandably, you're three different communities, but now you're not.
But Riverside
So,
Albert has those were.
yeah,
commercial
it's time that
rates.
we start acting more like one community and merge ourselves to something that's uniform. Again, you have that opportunity coming. But I do think that perhaps you should look into commercial rates instead of just residential. And that perhaps you should look into installing some of the meters.
Right, meters are about between $3,500 and $4,500 a pop. So it's one of the things that I'm hoping to do, and I can't make any guarantees, but we do have some money with Alma to that water project down there. That can be an opportunity to make a pitch to see if we could get some money. But this is the first time I've ever been in a municipality without water meters. I think they're great. So you're preaching to the choir, and yes, I believe that a standardization of a water bylaw is a good idea. That's what we're working toward.
And commercial rates,
Yeah.
because you've got a lot of businesses, not just in Riverside Albert. You've got tons everywhere, and also I'm gonna go against the grain and say that Airbnb is a business. And I feel that anyone who has an Airbnb should be charged a commercial rate, not just a residential rate, as they will be using their houses more and more. With that instance. And I know Alma is always, and Albert are always fighting the water conservation battle, but we are looking at increased tourism, increased people coming and going. So our water use is going to be off the wall, and you can speak to the local people about conserving water, but we've got thousands, or I don't know how many tourists coming through who don't necessarily care. So we do need to kind of do something to make it more worthwhile. Speaking of the Alma water, do you guys know when that will be completed?
I think that's scheduled for March.
March, so we'll be going off for the winter. Okay,
Well, I
I
think
know
we're-
that you're not
we're-
including it in next year's.
We're
budget.
starting testing in December,
Okay, thanks.
and that's if all goes well. It's a very complicated, expensive system, so it's, that's what our hope is.
All right, hold on here, let me check my notes.
Sorry, just, but
You
is
go in, I'm-
it the same level, water treatment as Albert's? The new Alma system?
Riverside Albert's level 2, almost level 1, Hillsborough's level 1, but there's a lot of new regulations coming in next year under the Clean Water Act, which is adding some costs, unfortunately, because we've got to test for a lot more stuff. Sorry, what was your question again?
I was just, what level was you answered?
Yeah,
The level.
and so that there's considerations too, and I've got a bad feeling about this, that the government's always looking at ways to reinvent things, and it's very easy for them to say, you know what, that level 1 should be a level 2, and then you have to put on new filters for a level 3, and then you're in a different type of filters, so there's all sorts of things that we really don't have a control over because they're provincial, federal compliance things. But as it stands right now, it's 1, 2, 1.
Sorry, Ron.
Oh, just if you're looking for opinions on knotweed, I do feel that that is awful and should be taken care of, and if 5,000 over the however many millions of dollars our budget is, I do feel that it's worthwhile. Knotweed is not good. Mosquito control services for Coverdale area, what's that? What are we spraying, and is it residual, and why are they getting sprayed? I've got mosquitoes. Like, what's that?
Well, for $4,500, I can get you mosquito spraying too.
My goodness.
You really don't want to know the answer to that. Yes. By the name of Jeff Scott from the city of Moncton, that come out with that program, and you really don't want to know what they're spraying on your food.
Cause yeah, it seems like this is
The mosquito dehydrator, it's a powder that they spray weekly. It gets developed, gets spread from an argo that drives around the marshes and
It's actually
And drones.
drones.
drones now. Oh, they've stepped up their game. But even the city of Moncton is spraying it on the Petitcodiac River marshes and not telling anybody that they're spraying it on. Because there are still people that go out on the Opal Cape marshes, the Over Coverdale marshes and the city of Moncton marshes and pick both sandfire green and goose tongue green. And the product they are spraying is a dehydrator. It is not fit human consumption. And
Okay.
Bell personally saved your $4,500 to stop spraying mosquitoes. Period. It is not it's not ecological. You might well be spraying good to sand on your property.
well, I get it. I'm coming
Bad
from
idea.
there are other ways to encourage natural predators, just to throw that out there. But perhaps we could have a report on that, of what kind of poison is being used and what the effects on human consumption would be, because I too enjoy goose tongue green, et cetera, but also just from breathing it in and, yeah, I just wanna know what everything's being sprayed in what area.
So I have your email, so I can put you in touch with the Regional Service Commission to do that.
So you're going to put me in touch with the person who's spraying?
Yes,
Counselor won't be going out and seeking that information and presenting it to the group as a whole?
if that's a request,
I think that should be.
yeah, put it into your counselor and,
Appreciated if it came from the council itself, and Philly, I would actually think it would come from the Coverdale counselor, who would that be?
so,
I feel like it come from that
Heather.
person,
Yeah.
who I'm assuming already has a contact with the spray. I would like to think that this council is involved in this somehow. So people just come onto your area and spray, you pay for it, but you're not actually involved in it?
Well, it's provincial government that looks after, like, I mean,
Yeah, that's been done for years upon years upon years, so, with being so close to the marshes and, I know there's reasons, I mean, I just know that I've lived there and I've done it for the last 49 years of my life, so I don't know any more than that.
I think if we could share, and I'm also a strong believer that because we've done it before in the past, I think that's what we should be doing moving forward. Just my personal opinion on that. But I would love to see that report, what is actually in the voices. And just to agree with Kathy, I did notice, again, from the very quick scroll, it did seem that there were a few reductions in some of the community focused events. So I look forward to seeing a breakdown to see, what areas, like trail repairs and other, common areas, I didn't see too many decreases in those, but again, I'll check it out. When I see the report online. And I think that's all I have, but by all means, if someone else has more questions, I'll happily jump in another time. I appreciate you taking the time to come and chat with us about the budget, and I would love to attend more of your meetings. So thank you.
Thank you.
I look forward to that.
I may add, Robin,
Yes.
there's a municipal election starting in May and June.
I can't help it, my board's already taken.
These seats might be empty, some of them, just letting you know.
I can assure you that you don't, I'm not really desirable on a. I have been told.
They were mistaken.
Go ahead, sir.
And Jason Horstman, Albert Mines, Grable. So again, thanks for the presentation. Like Miss Ward Russell, I understood that there was gonna be more presentation and discussion around the shared costing model, but that appears to have been abandoned. Not sure if you can inform me if that's still something that you're looking at. My area of expertise is vehicles, obviously. Many of you know me, know that's where I live. I see a lot of line items in your budgets, vehicle repair estimate budget next year up $100,000 on some vehicles, which doesn't even really cover the cost of the one vehicle you want to buy, so I'm a little dubious of where that number comes from. Budgeting for fire, I believe, was set at $245,000. There is other line items in there, the same thing to do with buildings and whatnot that were up $80,000 to $100,000 over the 2025 with. And honestly, at this point in 2025, I would expect your 2025 numbers to be actual, or you should have went back to 2024 where you had actual. Because really, we don't know nothing by your document because you're projecting projections over projections. It's almost untruthful, but I understand you haven't been audited, so maybe you can't give out actuals. Now, one thing I would recommend, I was hoping for the lack of a better thing, the British fellow that I can never remember his name, I was hoping he was gonna be here and speak a little more about that vehicle purchase and some stuff. Because it has come to my attention through sources that we're actually sending equipment to St. John to be repaired. A ride-on lawnmower to St. John to be repaired. We're sending trucks to Moncton. We're sending stuff out to be repaired, but we have 5 repair facilities in Bundy Elm. Good friends with a few of them that run them, and
Excuse me, let's go.
For those,
I asked Travis, and Travis says up in Roberts that they've never been asked to maintain a Village Albert machine or safety inspected or.
We have, I think, taken a truck up there a time or two, but our trucks also need the bigger garages, so for the most part, it is Hills Road Service Center that does service our vehicles.
Service center is doing some of the repairs.
Is most,
Most.
I would say 99% of our repairs.
and
Okay,
the
that's
diesel
good to
trucks,
hear, is,
they're going to.
like I say, anything that's under warranty, I can understand you gotta go back to the dealership, but I
And they're,
certainly hope that.
oh, sorry to interrupt
No,
you,
go ahead.
Jason. But we do have some of our older Ford ton trucks that actually have to go right to the dealership because Hills Road Service Center can't service them.
Their computers aren't updated enough for that
Yeah.
emissions. Yeah, and unfortunately, you're not allowed to send them to Memorial to be deleted because But still being illegal here in Canada. Sure. Now. Yeah, like I said, I just urge you to. Cause I know one of them come to a forefront for me today, actually. Zamboni, you guys have one of the Hillsborough calls, or the Hillsborough ring. Anyway, something as simple as 2 ball joints on your Zamboni. The Data 44 rear end out of a 70 Chev Active. $63 at CarQuest. We called today to the company that you guys are using, Saunders Equipment out of Fredericton, comes down and services your Zamboni in the arena. They wanted $450 for the same 2 parts. So I know there's businesses in Hillsborough. I know there's individuals that would go to your building and maintain that machine for $300 for 2 ball joints. So, I know you're.
Who are these people, just so we know?
Well, Service Center, Albert County Automotive, I'm sure Carl would gladly do more work for you. Robert, I will not mention myself because I'm standing up here talking. There's lots of businesses in Hillsborough and Riverside, Albert, and I know you were saying larger vehicles. I don't know how much Tommy's still doing on larger vehicles, Kevin Dixon. Like there's facilities around.
It's a very good
Tax
point.
money, it should be spread around to the local stuff.
It's a very good point.
Like I said,
We
I was hoping
usually
to hear
try
more about
to.
that shared.
It
so.
depends where they break down. When they break down in Hillsborough, it is cheaper to tow them there.
Yeah, no, I understand that, because again, we don't have towing services either, which is an untapped market, that's not for you guys. It's not a market for you guys, so.
So Jason, I haven't been here that long, but I am reviewing all the work, all the contractors that we use.
I guess that,
And I am a big believer in shopping local, so I'm going through that list. It's just taking me some time.
I figured that, like I said, after the last meeting in Hillsborough, I actually drafted an email, and I'm looking, it's still sitting in my drafts. I forgot to send it to you, so. Anyway, it's been busy, but.
And the
That's
fire
why-
trucks, the larger fire trucks, the Freightliners and that, they go to,
They
Riverview truck,
we're gonna drop still.
yeah.
And Alma's go to.
Depending on the truck, but,
Yeah.
some, if there's warranty, they have to go get it.
Places that, when I understand the parts for them are astronomically expensive to get. Part of what I do every day is maintain fire trucks.
In regard to your shared services question,
Yes,
we haven't made any changes from what last year was. We did bring up, I think you were there at the meeting when we did, cause there is that works question is still in the works. Essentially, so what we're looking at is getting a program that. Have analytic data that's more on point, so we can make those decisions. So nothing has changed on that part.
Okay.
Shared services, so anything that's under transportation, that's all village core. Besides streetlights and Coverdale.
Yeah.
And I think I wanna say beautification is village core only and tree removal is village core only. For the most part, everything else is shared. But if you want a more detailed list, we are gonna be putting one together to put out on the website to go along with our budget.
yeah, but like I say, the last meeting, it was fairly obvious, or seemed obvious to me, that before you could even entertain. Redistributing cost sharing, you had to figure out what your costs were. It's like right now you're saying you have a public works budget, but that includes the rinks, it includes cleaning up the gazebos. So it sounds like you just need to look at a Parks and Rec as well, because Parks and Rec would be more of your shared, whereas
Yeah,
really public service or
or
public
more,
works is your water, sewer, streets and that kind of work, historic.
And that's exactly what my thought was that I forgot earlier, was that that's what we had a hard time without the facts to know what should be charged to the water and sewer utilities when we don't know how much time they're spending doing water and sewer.
And
Thank
like I said, I've got to get to another project, but that reminds me of the other thing for you is. You made the statement when one lady asked about the costing for water and sewer for Riverside, Albert, and the institutional costing, it's just a percentage. I found it a little funny that the first thing you went to was privacy. All your institutionals, with the exception, I think, one nursing home, Brunswick, and the federal government.
It's all
They get
posted
no
online.
privacy. There's no privacy when it deals with the province.
Yeah.
We
I think it was
we
just
pay their
a
bills
error
to
on
ourselves.
caution.
So I think their rate should be public knowledge, and that was one of the questions I have in my email is. Since Fundy Albert took over, when it was provincial, I can guarantee the province of New Brunswick didn't charge themselves a dime for water and sewer. For the schools, for the hospital, all that municipal stuff was theirs. So once Fundy Albert took over, who set the rate with them to begin with? And what has it done since? Has it kept pace? Cause I can guarantee the province of New Brunswick thought they could save a nickel on the back of somebody else that was.
Yeah.
So like, are the schools paying a fair share for water and sewer? Is the Horizon Health paying? And like I say, I know a couple people have said it again with Hillsborough with their point system. I understand, I assume it's in the bylaws, Jeff, that
Mhm.
it's so many points per, not a negotiated thing.
Yeah.
I think people misheard what you said. I certainly hope they did.
Yeah.
That's negotiated. There's no, I'm gonna start a laundromat, I'm gonna go sit down with the village and negotiate.
They actually do have a meter on that building,
Yes,
I would think that.
Yeah.
would, but-
and it's supposed to be checked on a regular basis.
But like, school like Caledonia is gonna be a large user of water in Hillsborough. I just urge you to publicize that number rather than just a percentage increase, because it makes it look like it's drastically lower than what the general public's paying.
Oh, I understand what you're meaning by that.
Yeah.
I think for the presentation, I won't, in the short amount of time, I kind of. We're throwing that kind of part together was, I want to err on the side of caution in case. It was privacy and, this, I can get in a lot of trouble if I'm airing private knowledge in a public meeting.
Yeah, when it comes to the province and the Brunswick government of Canada, there is no privacy. Act.
You can just go online, look at all their
Yeah,
financial
yeah.
statements, which tells you what they pay.
Like, if you can tell us what every individual resident in Riverside, Alberta is paying on a per capita basis for a unit of water, you can certainly tell us what the government of Canada and the province of New Brunswick are paying.
That's a very good point. Yeah.
so Jason, on that shared services thing, so we're gonna be implementing a program here soon where we're gonna be able to track the vehicles. So this is an incredibly large municipality and, you know, I think we're the only ones with 3 water systems and 3 fire departments, and it's 2 hours from one end to the other. So we're gonna put some GPSs on vehicles, and we're gonna have some software that's going to track the tasks that this public works do, so that way we can break down to whatever we're doing on the shared stuff. So anyway, we're gonna be implementing that. I'm hoping we're gonna be able to purchase this in December. And that way we're gonna be able to collect data for a year, and just see where the data's at, come up with ways to find more efficiencies. And I think that's really gonna help us out a lot.
Sounds like a great idea.
Yeah.
Like I say, you can't do nothing without data, and unfortunately, some systems are BS in, BS in.
Yeah.
So, like I say, you gotta try and get to a system and find one that works.
I found a good one, and it's gonna do exactly what I want it to do, and,
I would recommend not using a company called Geotab.
we're not using GTAB.
We've had 230 vehicles on Geotab. It's a great system.
Yeah, no, we're not,
Don't use it.
no, we're not using that. Guarantee you.
It's also important to track their driving time,
Yes,
because I know it's not a task, but they're being paid for it.
and we get killed on that, to be quite honest with you.
It's a cost.
Well, and I think one of the councilors mentioned it in Hillsborough, or I've heard it somewhere, and maybe it was just a conversation I was having. Is why in the heck is, like, I'm sure your employees are coming from all over. They all go to Hillsborough to an underused garage that used to be staffed by a Village of Hillsborough mechanic. To work on Village of Hillsborough equipment. There's no reason why all our staff are traveling from Albert, Elma, wherever they live, into Hillsborough. Just to get the truck and drive back to Elma. Like, in 2025, 6, whatever we're gonna be next year. There's no reason why a couple of Albert residents can't go to work in Albert traveling. Elma, like, we must have people hired from all over by now.
You're preaching to the choir.
We're looking at that right now.
Yeah.
And we started that, Jason, we started that this summer. We had a gentleman that worked for our community that came to Riverside, Albert.
Yeah.
And then from there, he would go to Elma for the summer. So He did, that stopped that bit about going to the garage and leaving there at 9:30. He was here in the village working. So
I'd like to say,
we're working on all kinds of efficiencies. And believe me, I pay taxes too, so.
Like, for instance, for Alma, if we want to check the water system, someone's actually gonna drive down there to do that right now.
right,
But in the near future, that's gonna be online, and we're gonna be able to bring that up on a computer and look at it anywhere, right? So those type of technology adoptions is really gonna help us as well.
like I said, keep up the work.
Thank you.
We're trying, I assure you. Okay,
I
who,
gotta go.
thank you. Go ahead, sir.
Nice chart, nice presentation. I believe I heard someone say that if you go to the village council packet, you can find the cost to date for each one of these categories.
Yes. This document.
Is that true, one for one?
This, what she just presented is on our website.
It's on your website?
Yeah.
If you get a center column between 25 and 26, it is annualized 25 to date.
I can put projected, I can put year to date.
Yeah.
I'm
If
here
you've
for
got
recommendations.
information to the end of September, just divide by 9, multiply by 12, then you'll analyze that number.
Mhm.
And you can stick it in between 25 and 26. And it will give us a little bit more realistic analysis for the cost to date rather than a budget projection in 2025 and a budget projection in 2026.
Yeah.
And then if you could republish that with that information, I want to ask one other favor at the end of that. You had a nice survey and I tried to take it. Couldn't upload it. Now that you've had 2 public meetings and you've had these things out on the internet with your video and people involved, send the survey again. You see what you get. Because what you're doing is you're asking in the front end what you want to hear from the residents. Then you're telling them what you think you need to do. Now ask them what they learned and what you can learn from that with another survey, and just close it for like 1 week or 3 days or 7 days or something like that.
Yeah, we can do that.
That could be done right after this meeting and send it out on your Facebook page and say, folks, we've heard these voices. Now, please give us your second thoughts so that we can incorporate them in our deliberations.
Another thing I'm doing, so we had a survey in 2024. And right now I'm doing analysis comparing the 2024 to the 2025. And when I'm finished that, I'll post that as well.
Okay, so just so I'm clear, please. These categories, very nicely done. But are they one for one to what's reported in the packets that are sent out on the village council meeting packets?
So what I uploaded is right from our accounting program, so it won't have the budget line numbers, but the names will be there.
The same names,
Yes.
so we can find them one for one, or you can number them in order. And then we can find number 3 to match what you got in your budget report.
Then the name I use the exact name. Sometimes I have to slim it up a little for it to fit in the line, but it's usually name for name.
So you could put a century count number in front of it too, like century counts where you do accounting for projects. You could put a number in front of it, then we could do it one by one for the number, we don't have to worry about the title. Because if you're truncating titles, it can confuse people.
Is that the number you're talking about, the first one there, like 13124, so you're talking about that number?
In front of the title where it says services provided to other governments, there can be a number in front of that. And then you go to the packet that is put into the village council. And you go to find that number, and Bob's your uncle.
Yeah.
Next steps after this, you've presented to the community. You've heard from the community. What's next? Are you going to have deliberations like they did in January 2025? Where John Arrow managed to run that situation, or are you gonna have deliberations now before January, or what's the story on where we're going with this?
Well, council has to deliberate
Yeah.
in short order,
Yeah.
so, it's gonna be done within the next 2 weeks.
Okay, to meet your end of November deadline.
That's the end of November deadline that
You can the public sit in on those deliberations?
the public meetings,
Okay, so you'll be announcing those in a schedule.
absolutely.
Super. Knotweed eradication, I think, is a good idea. In British Columbia, banks will not lend to a property that has knotweed on it. Quite often, knotweed is inadvertently propagated by activities by people who don't know what they're doing. And there should be, in addition to eradication, which is being successfully done in Alton, some education program. So that people don't inadvertently take a bucket full of fill from somewhere and spread it somewhere, and you've got a knotweed crop in another year. And you don't want people inadvertently devaluating property, whether it's theirs or somebody else's. Water meters are a very good thing. Southern California, the American Environmental Protection Act required under the Clean Water Program, the communities that were on wells get central water and wastewater. So 20 years, 30 years ago, this was taking place with what you've got. They did a lottery system. In some communities, they put everybody that was a user in a lottery, pulled out what they could pull out, say you got $3,500 to do a meter. Parkland Hotel, residents on School Street, until you used up your budget for that. So if you had $10,500, you get 3 meters in at $3,500, then 3 meters were installed in the following year, another lottery. That which played no favoritisms. Or in some communities, they went to the biggest users first. Airbnbs, we got several in Alma and around Fundy Albert, worked one particular. Those that you know are an Airbnb. Good weekend. 6 cars parked in the driveway and probably 6 couples. 6 showers and 6 changes of water in the hot tub, and there's an awful lot of usage. Not only are they commercial, should be charged commercially, but I would say that there's a maybe an excise charge that should be considered for the large number of people that are there. It's not a single family unit where you've got a father figure that is saying, turn off the shower, you're done. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else?
Sorry, Sean, CEO, right?
Same as you.
I love the idea of having in-house staff work. And you're talking about buying, I don't know, it's a piece of equipment you're buying, put on the banners and stuff. What are you buying?
It's a $6,000 man lift that we put on the front of our tractor, which will do everything that we need to do. And it's a very minimal.
Official, real McCoy, like,
And it'll save us probably $5,000-6,000 a year.
it'll cost us time for the time to do it, but
Yeah.
stuff like that is.
But it's way cheaper than hiring
It
a
is.
contractor, right?
Yeah, as much in-house as you can do.
Yeah.
You pay some money up front and we'll.
And those things do come back to us subsequent years.
Mhm.
And I know this council very keen on internal work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also camera to check sewage lines and buildings. We have to get up in the attic of a building or areas that we can't see.
Versus contractor. Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
they're $3,000, $22,000, $3,000 a pop sometimes when they come out. And if you do 2 or 3 of those a year, and the idea would be we could do that ourselves. But we could also be doing preventative maintenance where we could send a crew to a certain section of town once a year. And we scope that area, have a look at the sewer pipes and say, oh, no, that one's good, or that one's about to go. And, we can actually preempt those expensive repairs if we know in advance and actually budget for it.
All right,
Or just one
Go
thing,
ahead.
I think you asked earlier about the RCMP price, and I think I misspoke, I don't think it is broken down by ward. I looked it up and I think it's just one lump sum or fund the Alberts.
It's one lump sum, but it's based on your tax base.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Like fire is kind of broken down, or what we've been shown, it's broken down, but. But the police doesn't appear to be.
Jillian, did I not see one where it was broken down?
Yeah, there.
Yeah, when we get up in the comments, they break it down by ward.
So I did see it somewhere.
Yeah, when we get the numbers, they're still coming from the separate wards, but I believe that it has to do a lot to do with, they're still using we're still in the old contract with RCMP. So
Yeah,
it's still,
I've got the numbers here, so for Elma, it's 70,300, goes down. I don't have my glasses on, but,
And you're around 400,000, I think.
262 maybe?
260.
no, I think it was like 375.
Oh, that's Hillsborough. Hillsborough's 262, Coverdale's 346. 369. I think it's-
I suppose.
Try it now, 369 would be Coverdale, Hillsborough is 199. What other ones did I give you? So that, what I just said, 199 was Hillsborough LSD, Hillsborough Village was 262, Riverside Albert is 66. Then you've got, the two LSDs here at 56 and 80,000. And then, the Village of Elma is 70, the LSD of Elma was 14,000.
So that's just basically you're saying for each household, they're charging X amount of money and they're taking this households.
It's not households, it's what your actual ward is. Yeah, we've got tax base.
I think it's what your assessed value, total assessed value.
Oh, set value.
Yeah.
percentage for that.
Yeah.
not the ward.
But it should be all getting the same service level, that's my thought.
It's supposed to be.
So
It wasn't before.
Is the mutual aid fire from Riverview, is that per fire call or is that
that's a global contract. That's a one number.
whether they?
That they cover, portion of Lower Coverdale and a part into Hillsborough LSD. But there is still that mutual aid, if something is needed, they still work together.
Yeah.
It's a contracted rate, not a.
Well, we think we have to pay a contracted rate for the service, their service area.
Yeah.
And they all, cause Town of Riverview services part of Fundy Albert, and they also service part of Salisbury as well. So, yeah.
Hey, folks. Robin,
Why are the two budgets? Is it common practice to have a generic, why is there a utility budget separate from your overall budget?
utility is paid by the users.
So that's just for municipal, so when you're posting it, so technically like, since I'm not in the municipality, sorry, I wouldn't necessarily be involved in this at all.
No.
So that's why it's separated, so this doesn't affect this one in any way.
No.
Yes, it does, because a
yeah.
portion of our wages and stuff gets transferred to the general operating. So
So-
what we cover under the utility,
Yeah,
we cover a portion of the salaries. So the salaries you see in the utility budget for the three former village cores, if that's what we're calling them now, is
Yep.
not former villages, village cores. A portion of that, what we cover for salaries administration, gets transferred over to as a utility transfer, and you'll see that as revenue on the general operating side.
And
So the general operating side covers budgets at all, and then we transfer money over to take away from it.
And the tracking that the analytics you're gonna do is gonna make that number more.
Accurate,
Way more accurate.
Right.
Yeah, way more, and we're talking about rated.
which,
Yeah.
you know, we, at this point, we're not sure who that's gonna benefit or who it's not gonna benefit.
Right, but it'd
Right.
be-
Yeah, cause you know, some people say, oh, we're gonna save a whole bunch of money. Well, once we get those analytics back, it could tell a different story, because we don't know, right?
to get a better picture of it.
Absolutely.
and one more of a statement, just from my personal life, not to do with the council. If you are looking at doing something with the Alma Visitor Center, so it's a provincial visitor center or municipal, what is covered in provincial and municipal visitor centers are not necessarily what's covered in a national park information center. So before deciding to close a municipal information center, do keep in mind that I have 15 years experience of a front desk of a visitor center at Funny National Park. What I offer is not what you will receive when you enter a visitor center for the province or the municipal. So please do keep that in mind before you squash that information center. And the other thing I was gonna say is that perhaps we could look at different venues if your information centers aren't quite catching the attention or the number of people that you're looking for. For example, in Hillsborough, is there any way to look at merging venues? Like the library and the information center. In St. Martin's, their library and their information center are in the same building, and it actually increases the library usage. Because when people come, they
Good
can
point.
also use the library and realize where it is, what it offers. So just as an example, perhaps that could be beneficial, and then your information center down by the pond be used as another business.
Where is that at?
St. Martin's.
St. Martin's.
St. Martin's, okay, I'll check with the province on that, cause I'm not sure there could be some rules around. That maybe has to be a completely separate space.
They have separate entries, but they have the same general area, so I don't know if that was something that maybe you have to have a complete different.
Yeah, that's why I was worried about the
But-
configuration of her building, it may, I'll check it out.
Like, of course, it wouldn't be like free for all in the library when the library is closed, but that would be something that could potentially give another tourism opportunity for a business. Cause I know people do enjoy the colorful houses area, the market. So just keep those things in mind, when thinking about removing services.
Great idea.
Thank you. Motion to adjourn? That's where.